I feel very inspired today because it's a very special day. Happy Saviour's Day.
Happy Saviour's Day to you, sir.
And let me greet all of you in the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. Praise be to Allah. I'm clapping because we just walked into 2020. And there are countless human beings that thought they were going to walk into 2020 and they didn't make it. We're very blessed to be here in this time. And I don't want us ever to take it for granted that tomorrow is promised to any of us. I wanted to begin today, beloved family, by going to the book of Isaiah, chapter 9, verse 6. And it says, "For unto us a child is born, and unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace." That's where we are today. My God, I want to start at the end of that. The Prince of Peace. See, Islam, beloved, is a whole way of life. And what we've been taught and what we think we know about Islam, it's so minuscule, so limited, if we are going by this world of orthodoxy and what this world thinks Islam is. This world thinks that Islam is just another one of those religions. And remember what a religion is. A religion is something, it's anything that you do perpetually or religiously. So people go to the pub every evening, that's a religion.
That's right.
People who support their football teams to the point where wherever their team goes, they'll paint their face in the colours and they're at that match, that's a religion.
That's right.
Some of us, for us, sex is a religion. Can't live without it. And if we can't get it, it's like we're in a state of depression. Some of us, drugs is a religion. Some of us, money is our religion. Understand what I'm saying, beloved? So if we think that you can reduce Islam to that, no, beloved. What does Islam mean? It means peace. Peace. Do you know what you find if you're able to get outside of the Earth atmosphere and go into space?
Peace.
Do you understand that you have a universe built, designed in peace? Do we understand that there's no chaos out there?
Total peace. Total peace.
Some of us, these people running around and they're talking about climate change and global warming. And if you're not careful, you can start to think that there's something wrong with the universal order. Something is going wrong. The weather is wrong. No, beloved.
Come on, man.
Do we understand, beloved family, that we are a part of the universal order? Do we understand that within every one of us are all of the elements found in the earth and in the universe?
Come on.
Do we understand that melanin, that material that is secreted from the pineal gland of our brain, is a form of carbon and is found throughout the universe?
Come on. Come on, bro.
That blackness that is our skin. They say, oh, color is only skin deep. No, beloved. This brown, this black, it's intrinsic in the universe.
Come on, bro.
It's not no lightweight thing. It ain't about no skin color. The skin color is just a visible sign of something that's much deeper going on within.
Come on.
The banana skin is yellow.
Right.
When it really starts to ripen, you see it gets brown spots. That's mentally. When you break the banana and you put it down for a while, you see it turn brown. That's mentally. and most of us, we dash it away, not realizing that that's when the real not fruit, but the real essence of it is actually coming to the surface. Beloved family, he's the Prince of Peace. He's bringing back the royal lineage of Islam. He's establishing a new order. He is effectively doing away with the powers and the principalities of this world and establishing a brand new order based on the originator's plan. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan explains to us that the 6,000 years that the Caucasian has been on our planet and the 4,000 years that he's been ruling represents a vacuum in our history. Represents literally a little glitch in the black man and black woman's history, which is so, I mean, can I find a word? It's indescribable, the eons of time that we're talking about, that the black man has been. That's why we have no birth record. Can I just digress slightly from that? I'm going to come back to that. But if you and I would go deep enough within ourselves, there is a connection to that eons of time. And we still have the ability today to connect to that original source of energy and power. And the enemy knows this about us. And that's why he spends 24 hours, 7 days a week. He's in his laboratories trying to fashion different ways to prevent black people from ever coming into the knowledge of our true self and beginning to manifest our true self. Because if we were ever to do that, he knows that he could never ever rule a people under those circumstances.
Come on. Teach.
May I say, beloved family, that even though we may be manifesting some of the qualities of ourselves, and the white man was never able to completely uproot our nature. He was able to bury it under a lot of filth and madness, but he was never able to completely erase. If he did it, then we would never be able to come back. That nature was just buried. In the scripture, in one part, it talks about being buried in a shallow grave of ignorance. It wasn't deep. It's not a deep grave. It's a shallow grave. And there was always a sprig of cassis, something green that showed that there was life there. And all that was needed was one to come with a master grip, who could pick up that dead man and that dead woman and breathe new life back into them. All praise is due to Allah. That's why he's called Master Farad Muhammad. Because he came with a master grip. Everybody else who tried to pick us up or hold us, they didn't know how to hold us properly. I pride myself on being able to hold babies very well. I feel very comfortable with a little baby in my arms. But not everyone does. Some people, and if you don't know how to hold a baby, the baby can sense that they're in an insecure environment, and the baby might start crying because it doesn't feel secure. There's a way that you have to hold a baby that gives the baby confidence, where the baby is completely relaxed in your arms. There's a way that you have to hold a black man and black woman.
Teach, brother. Teach.
That makes us to know, oh my God, I am loved.
Come on, teach.
You understand what I'm saying? Because what we've been through, we have been devoid of love.
That's right. True love.
We've been left in a field covered in our own birth blood, with no one prepared to come and swaddle that child and take care of that child. And so when Master Farad Muhammad came, he came as one with pure love for us. You know, this is why, beloved, when you hear some ignorant people talking about Master Farad Muhammad, you have to just steel yourself, As a believer, as a Muslim, don't let people upset you and take you off course. That you hear this but they follow a white man. And they call him some ugly names, beloved family. But we have to know, I don't know if it was Brother Alvin who was talking about this, or somebody was talking about this recently, how you bear witness to the fact that, and the minister has taught on this, how you bear witness to the fact that an electrician has visited the place. You don't have to see the electrician. When the light comes on, you know the electrician was there. And we touched, I think, on the architect who would have drawn the plans for this building. You don't have to meet the architect. How do you know an architect did it? Because the building's here. The building bears witness to the architect.
Water bears witness to the plumbing. Beautiful teaching, brother. Water bears witness to the plumbing. Teach.
Everlasting Father. This isn't a father who comes for a day. This isn't a father who comes, establishes something, goes away, and is to be forgotten. This is an everlasting Father. This is a Father who is going to lay a foundation that then will be furthered into infinitum. Infinity. There is no end. So in the nation of Islam, in the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we're taught that the black man has no beginning and no ending. There's no ending for us, beloved. Let me ask you a question. Did you know that we're actually indestructible?
Yes.
Do you know what would happen if you could get that message into the mind of black children?
Wow.
That you are indestructible. In fact, that you can never die. See, you'd be surprised. See, the enemy, beloved, are so fearful of nothing that we can hardly make any progress.
Teach.
Because we just don't know who we are. That's why the knowledge of self is so critically important. Because the knowledge of self is not a knowledge of just this frame. It's a knowledge of so much more.
Teach, black man. Come on.
He's a mighty God. Not just a God. Because you know the Caucasian, he's a God. He's the God of his world. Make no mistake about it. You can mock white people all you want if you want, but the reality is that he's a God of his world. That's why he can say things like Great Britain. That's why he can say things like make America great again. America was never great.
Definitely for us, it wasn't.
But he can say that because he's a God trying to create a reality for himself. If you question black people and ask them, when in the past was America great? Well, it certainly was never great for us. It was a great destroyer of us. It produced a great deal of pain and suffering for us, if that's what you call great. Great Britain, a colonizer and an enslaver and a destroyer of African nations and African people.
Come on, man.
Great Britain to the white man.
That's right.
Not to the black man.
Or the red man. Not good. Or the red man.
And as my brother says, you know, they jumped all over the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in the 80s when he said that Hitler was wickedly great. And the devils jumped all over the minister. Oh, he called Hitler great. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, English is not my language. The minister said, you taught me the language. And you know what the word means. Because when you say it was a great earthquake, it don't mean it was a good earthquake. They know, they knew what the minister was talking about. He said if Hitler wasn't great, why are you still talking about him?
Well, come on.
Movies about it.
Come on, teach the word.
It says, a wonderful counselor.
Teach, bro, teach.
See, black people have been so misguided in religion that we think religion is abracadabra. God is going to come and God is going to say, Shazam! And by the way, I've been doing a bit of, I've been doing some studying.
Okay, come on.
And Shazam, it comes from us. It's from the East. Abracadabra, it's from us. And they are words that are very powerful words that the devil stole and used in his magic tricks. But these are words that all emanate from the original people of the earth. And they actually contain vibrational power. Abracadabra and Shazam and things of this nature. It all comes from us, beloved. But we've been miseducated in such a way that we think that religion and God and spiritual things are magic, spook,
unicorn.
But you see, he is called a wonderful counselor. Well, when do you go and see a counselor, beloved? Don't you think that black people need some counseling? See, what this is telling you is that there will be a wonderful counselor. In other words, a day is coming when we will be able to get counseling that comes from the counselor that will be of consoling our very beings. Because we need to be consoled, we need to be counseled, we need to have guidance in the form of words that will put us back into a place of equilibrium.
That's right, there you go.
Balance.
I love that word.
See, because we're out of balance. They've made us unbalanced. based on 400 years of the most heinous treatment ever meted out to any people in history. A wonderful counselor. That's what we can expect in this day and time. It's not just, you can't just give a word and leave the people. The people have to then be counseled and guided in that word. They have to be helped in order to come to the proper understanding of that word. Don't you think we have a wonderful counselor in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan? All praise is due to Allah. Praise is due to Allah. Don't you think he's teaching us how to be wonderful counselors?
That's right.
Because you see, again, going back to study guide on Friday, Master Farad Muhammad, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, all three of them, all of them are continuations of one another. All of them have given a word that, according to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and we can all bear witness, a word that contains light, life, and power. This is not a lightweight word. This is a word that contains within it light. Light represents knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. That's where you get the term enlightenment from. Where you're ignorant and dark, when this word hits, all of a sudden, I get it now. Life. When something is dead, it is inanimate. It don't move, it can't think, it can't work, it can't grow, it can't develop. All it can do is deteriorate and decay. But here's a word that contains life. Life represents that which is vibrant, alive, and is exhibiting energy. Here is a word that contains power. Power is the ability to move things. It means to have force. Beloved, these three men, they come with this light, life, and energy, but not for us to look at the three men and become cheerleaders on the side like sports fans. They're showing us how to do what they do. The reason I say we go back to the study guide is because, again, that humility, Master Farad Muhammad displayed humility. Here's a man, according to what we've been taught, who is taken into the white man's court. The white man says, "Who are you?" He says, "I am the supreme ruler of the universe." But when he's with Elijah, he says, "Come closer, brother." When he's with us, he is a humble servant. He comes with silk, going door to door, knocking on our doors, not kicking the door down, knocking and asking, "May I speak with you for a while?" And in fact, if the husband's not in the house, he says, I'll come back later when your husband is home.
Go ahead.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and by the way, I could talk about the Master Farad Muhammad's humility for a lot longer, but I'm just touching and showing you something. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we're taught in the early days of the Nation of Islam building, could be found in the coffee shop sweeping the floors. That's when he's building this multi-million-dollar nation with factories and farmland and airplanes and schools and laundries and dry cleaners and barbers and bakers but here he is sweeping the floor. He is so humble that when he's conducting the business of the Nation of Islam, in order to maintain his own spiritual enlightenment, he takes the lectures from his student, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and he listens to those lectures to keep him spiritually uplifted. But he's the messenger of Allah. I'm trying to get somewhere with us, because one of our biggest problems, so teaches the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, is in our leadership. This has been the problem of black people for countless generations. Black leadership. Where we get to that point where we've been given some authority or some power over that which we did not create. In other words, the other human being, the people. And we become abusive to the people who we are to serve, because now we get full of ourselves. Not realizing that the more power you're given, the more humility you should display. All praise is due to Allah. I'm not saying that in a vacuum. I'm saying that in the context of Master Farad Muhammad, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the most humblest man I've ever met in my life. I've seen his humility in action. I've seen it, beloved. I've felt it. And so, a government shall be upon his shoulder. You know, we can take that two ways. My brother has got the star and crescent, the sun, moon, and stars right now on his shoulders. And what that means is that Master Farad Muhammad came with a government that we are to establish with the sun, moon, and star as our national emblem, our national flag. And then some people say, oh, what's that? Well, what that is that which is above your head, whether you like it or not. You understand? Everybody falls under this. You have no choice. So you can ridicule and mock all you want, but you're just displaying your ignorance. Because this is the governor. This is the ruler. The sun, the moon, and the stars. The universe above everyone's head. Whether they're a believer, a disbeliever, whether we're Pan-Africanists, nationalists, socialists, atheists, makes no difference. White, black, liar, thief, murderer, you're under this.